Hey everyone, welcome to Coding Simplified, and in this video we'll explain you all about the Hello World application. So in our last video, which was the first video on the C# series, we explained you about the C# introduction, and then we also explained you that how you can basically run your first Hello World application in the C#. So basically for that we installed the Visual Studio, we installed the workload, and then we created and launched the first Hello World application. Now if you see that whenever we launch the first console application, so this is basically a console application. Console application means there is no UI of this one. It is just running in the console, right? So we created the console application, and once we create the console application, it launches like this. Now if you see here, this is my solution. So solution means your so Visual Studio or basically Microsoft.NET framework says that you have basically one solution. It means this is a complete solution. Now in this solution you can have multiple projects or you can have multiple things, but they call it over as a solution. So in this solution we have only one project. This project is Hello World application. So they call it as namespace, right? In their terminology they call it as namespace. So that is why they are saying that in this solution, what is the namespace of this file? So the namespace of this file is Hello World application. It means, so you can say namespace is basically project name, right? So in this project name you have this one. This is like Hello World application. This is a one project. Now in this project, whenever it launches this application, it basically generates this program.cs file. So this is basically your main file, your entry file, right? Why this is entry file? Because in this file it has this function, main function, static void main. So this is basically the starting point of the execution of your project, right? Now what it is there? So if you see, this was your project name, which was the namespace. So that is why it is written namespace Hello World application. Let's say again if you create the further file, so again it will have the same namespace Hello World application, right? After that you have the program file. So that is why we write as class. Now in a single file there can be so many classes, but the ideal way is that we should have one class per file, right? And then after that we have this function, which is the main function, which is a starting point. So what happens that whenever we launch this application, it will basically go in this main method, and whatever it is there, it will basically execute that function, right? Now this console dot write line. Console means that it will print in the console, and this is write line. It will basically print this line. What it will print? It will print Hello World, I am learning C#, right? So if you run this application, so how can you run the application? Either you can run from here or you can run from F5. So if you run this application, you can run from here, Hello World application. So just click on this one, and then you can see that it is printing here, Hello World, I am learning C#. Now if you see that here, if you see the options, go in the debug, and you will see here that when you press this F5, so it says start debugging, right? It will basically start debugging, and if you want to start without debugging, then it will press Control F5. So it means if you are just launching from here, then it is basically running in the debug mode. But if you don't want to run in the debug mode, so you can just press Control F5. So either you can press from here or you can click here. Now if you see what will happen, it is not basically printing in the debug mode, and you can see Hello World, I am learning C, and you can click. Now what is debug mode? There is generally we have two mode, debug mode and run mode. Run mode means that it won't basically debug, it won't run in a debug mode. Now what is debug mode? Debug mode means, let's say if you want to check line by line, like what is happening in the function, so that is our debug mode. So how it happens? Let's say I have added a debug point here. Now run this function. Now run this function in debug mode. So if you see here, it means it started in main mode, main method, and now it is stuck here because we have put a debug point here. And now once we execute further, then it will execute. So this is basically step over. Like you can go further, and then in your console function you can see Hello World, I am learning C#. Now if you continue this one, so it will continue, and then it will basically completed all this thing, right? Just to explain a little bit, so let's say I have integer here, int a equals to 5, and then here I'm printing a, right? And then let's say, and then after it we are again running in debug mode. So now you will see that it will basically come here, stuck here. So now you can see here that it is initialized this equals to 5, and now once you will execute this console.write line, then it will print 5 here. So make it continue, and then you can see it has printed 5, right? So this is basically we can run our application in debug mode or without debug mode. Now let's say if I want to run in without debug mode, so you can just say Control F5, then you can see that it didn't stop here, right? It has just printed F5, 5 value here. So it means console is basically to write on the console, and this is our main entry point, which is basically go here because this is our main function. The main function syntax is that always have this main method as by this name, capital M and then AIN. Then here we basically print the argument, that do you have any argument for your function or not. So right now we are not providing any argument, right? So if you see here that there is no argument, and void means it won't return anything. Now let's say there is one thing as well here. This is using system. So this is like if you have seen the Java. So basically in Java we use the import, and here we use the using. So this is basically a library function, because whenever we have the .NET framework or when we use a .NET Core, so it install the libraries as well, so that we can utilize those libraries, right? So it's just that like these people have created a library, and then you can use this library. So whatever the functions are there in this library, you can use this one. So basically the system is very important library in this one, and all this function like console.write line, this is again a method of this system, right? So this is how let's say if you remove the system, so you can see that if you remove the system, so it will basically give you error. It won't you can see here that it is giving the error that the name console doesn't exist in the current context. So what it happens, then it says, it also provides you some hints that what you need to do to solve this error. So you can see it says that using system, either you can import the system, or you can just print system.console. So this is again another way of doing that, right? So again if you run this one, Control F5, so it won't give you any error, it will successfully execute, right? So this is how we basically import the libraries that we want to utilize. Now in this function we have this solution. So as we explained that it basically provides you a solution, and that solution we can have multiple project, multiple namespaces. This is one namespace, this is one project, right? Now if you see that what is this namespace, like what is the properties of this project. So it says, so as soon as you click on this one, it will basically shows you the property of this project, and this is csproj. Even whenever it basically builds the application, it takes it basically goes in this csproj, and then from here it basically execute one by one, right? So now if you see, first of all we are saying that this project SDK is Microsoft.net.sdk. It means this is a .NET based project. Now what is the property? So we are saying what is the output type. So output type of this project is exe. It means it will generate the exe, and then it will execute the exe. So what it happens that whenever you launch this application, it generates the exe, and after that it basically execute here, right? So let me show you that thing as well, so that you can basically understand more how it is happening. So here basically if you see, this was our application, hello world application, and if you go here, so this is our solution, right? This is our solution. Now in this solution we have this project, and in this project we have this csproj. So csproj is something that we can see here, right? It says that your output type is exe, and your target framework means how it should build this project. So it should build this project net core app 3.1, because if you saw that in our last project we basically created the application, we basically created the console application using console application. It was .NET Core, right? So because it was .NET Core, so that is why it is a net core app 3.1, right? So it means it will basically build this application using Netcore app 3.1, right? And after that it will create the output binary as exe. So that you can see from here as well, that go in the bin in debug mode, because we are launching in debug mode. Now there is again a thing here, that generally it basically releases in two mode. One is debug mode and one is release mode. Debug mode is when you are doing development. So here we can run in debug mode, and release mode is when you are going to release this in market or in a store. So then you create the release mode. Debug mode is little bit light because it knows that you are working in development mode, so it doesn't process so many things. But in release mode, what happens, that because it knows that you are going to release in this market, so it creates some extra stuff as well. So that we'll learn later. But just for information, that we have two mode, debug mode and release mode. So that is why we can see here that in bin right now it has launched the exe based on the debug mode. And if you go here, this is the target platform, and then here you can see that this is our exe. So this basically creates this exe whenever we are building this application. And this is the importance of this csproj, that whenever we are building launching the application, it basically start from this csproj, and it takes one by one from the csproj what it need to do with this project, right? And then it is showing you that what kind of dependencies that this project has. It means on what platform, in what framework this project depends on. So it is basically on the project wise. So this project depends on this framework. Down, if you again click on this one, so it says that this framework is Microsoft.NET Core application, right? Because we saw that we basically created the .NET Core application. And again, if you see on this one, so you can see all the libraries that this is using. So you can see system, because that's what we did, right? If you see that in our program.cs we basically use the system. So that was system. Then again we can have the system.buffer, system.collection, and all this file, this framework maintain this .NET Core application, right? So this is how basically we are using these libraries here, because it has the dependent library installed is this one. And here we have this program.cs, and then it is saying that in this program.cs file I have this program class. So this is a program class syntax, and this is a method syntax, right? So we have seen all about this first hello world application, and in case you have any doubts, so please write in the comment section and I will try to explain that. So if you have liked this video, then please like it, and in case you want to see further information on C#, so please subscribe our channel. Thank you.